Ready to go?
All right, good morning. Do our roll call. Jay Jacobo.
Present.
Crystal Freitas.
Here.
All members are present. Mr. Weiss, any announcements?
Yeah, Dave Weiss for the record. Thanks. Good morning, Madam President. We're having some technical issues, so we're working through. We'll do our best that keep see people on Zoom over here. If we can't get Zoom working, we won't be able to take input by Zoom. Madam President, so let's see if we can keep it up.
And if not, there is a phone call that could be dialed into.
No. Acceptable, but I'm giving the attorneys a heads up. And it's not, it's just the internet's a little bit back and forth, so we could maybe get the hotel to redo the internet. Right now, it's working as we speak right now. So Anna, can you identify, or Yen, that you can hear us?
Yes, Anna Carr. I can hear you.
So we'll just try to keep it together, and then we may have some slow time, and we'll make decisions as we go forward here. But for right now, it's working.
Great, then we're going to go ahead and proceed. Our next order of business, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. If we have anyone in the room or online who wishes to make public comment, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom or let us know through the chat function, and we'll have your line unmuted.
Not seeing anyone, Madam President.
And I don't see anyone in the room coming forward. So with that, we'll close the period for public comment. There will be another opportunity at the end of the day today as well. And next, we'll just go ahead and move to our regular agenda. As our first agenda item, I will be calling for 11B. That's for Meta Pharmacy Services. So if we could have representatives come forward or raise your hand on Zoom. Yep, please come forward. Oh, yes, sorry. Great, thank you. Everyone?
Share it amongst yourselves. I don't have copies.
All right, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great, will there be anyone else joining the two of you today? Okay, great. If I could have you both state your full name and
Line, right?
Derek or O'Leary potentially could be online.
I'm online. I'm here.
There he is.
Can you all hear me?
we
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And then is there anyone else that we should unmute?
Hi, this is Eric Heikkinen.
I believe it's
Is Bruce joining or no? Oh, Bruce, I didn't see that. Hi, Bruce. You're joining in person. Perfect.
Rachel Gray, counsel.
Rachel, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Good for your hair. All right, so we're gonna continue with Meta Pharmacy.
So if I can just confirm, Rachel, can you hear us? And we hear you? Yeah, shaking her head, yes, so thanks. Okay, Joe, stay long enough right now. Thanks.
And then do we have two individuals?
We'll put them in right now. All right, Rachel, we've unmuted you, so we should be able to hear you speak.
Okay, sounds good.
And then we have Derek O'Leary unmuted.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your patience. We're going to continue with Meta Pharmacy 11B. If I can have the folks in the room start, and then if you could state your full name and your title for the record.
Bruce Dilkey, a new hired pharmacist in charge for Meta Pharmacy Services.
Thank you.
Andy Vukadinovich, Vice President, Operations, Meta Pharmacy Services.
Great. And then we'll move to the online with Mr. O'Leary.
Derek O'Leary, President and CEO, owner of Meta Pharmacy Services.
Thank you. Great. Then Ms. Gray.
I'm Rachel Gray, Counsel for Meta Pharmacy Services.
Okay, so I'm going to swear everyone in except for council. So if you could join me in raising your right hand. I'm going to swear you in together, but I'll need a verbal affirmation from each of you. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Great, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Dodge.
Before you go to Joe Dodge, take this for quick. I'm just gonna update the board what's happened since the last board meeting and then make sure we are clearly addressing the issues that need to be addressed. So at the last meeting, you approved the ownership change. You approved a temporary manager, but then you requested that the new manager come back in front of you to be vetted by you. That at the time, that was one particular pharmacist that worked at the farm, they currently worked at the pharmacy and works at the pharmacy today. I think they can tell you that. But in the meantime, I think the business has made the decision to move to a different managing pharmacist, so they turned in the paperwork from Bruce, and that was not in time to be put in the board book. But you have a copy of it on paper, and there's a copy for the public out there. And so I think what we're doing today is I think there's an outstanding question about ownership, so I might go into that first, and then I'll turn it over to Joe to hopefully deal with Bruce as the manager and making sure you guys will be comfortable. I think the concern, and I shared this concern, was with all the issues that were at the pharmacy, the pharmacists that were there at the time, what was their role? Would they make a good managing pharmacist or not a good managing pharmacist? And that'll be your decision today. But with the ownership, the requirement was that Sean Barclay, who was the previous owner, will no longer be. So have you worked through that issue?
So this is Derek. Obviously, thank you everyone for letting us join again. We are in the process currently of working through the paperwork. The pharmacy is going to be redeeming Sean's equity, meaning buying it back. And then we will then put together a management plan in place where the senior members of the team will have an equity stake in the business. But Sean will no longer own any portion of Meta Pharmacy Services.
Okay, and so just to be clear for the board members, and I've talked to Rachel numerous times, new paperwork with ownership will be presented sometime in the near future. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Perhaps comfortable with that. These things take time, but I know that I'm sure that you have followed the other direction the board has given you in the meantime, and we haven't had any issue with that. And Joe's done an inspection, and he'll be able to talk to you about that inspection that happened. So for the ownership, comfortable with that. For us, it takes time, and then we'll get the new paperwork. And I just full transparency, you might have a great grandfather change too, so we probably could address all that stuff. If you do have that, we can have that all at the same time. So that's all I had for ownership. I can answer any questions and what happened in the meantime, this last meeting.
Great, thank you, Mr. Reese. I think that was a question that we had because of the materials in the board book, so appreciate that clarification, and we'll look forward to seeing that change in the future then.
With that, I'll turn to Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Thanks, board members. So just as a reminder, at the last board meeting, you stated that you would like a pre-inspection. And I believe the intent of that was to vet the PIC, because the PIC was not able to be at the last meeting, just to make sure that we were comfortable with that person as the PIC at a sterile compounding facility. The temporary PIC at that time was listed was Tommy Dean. So the intent was for me to do interview and inspection with Tommy. In the meantime, I was notified that Tommy was not going to be the PIC moving forward, that they had hired a new PIC, which is Bruce Dilkey, which is present today. So I did have an inspection with Meta Pharmacy on May 20th. The folks that were present were Sean Barclay, the previous PIC, Tommy Dean, the interim PIC, and Bruce Dilkey, the incoming PIC, who started this week at the pharmacy. I believe Andy is working full-time at the pharmacy, but he was out of town that week, so he wasn't present for the inspection at that time. So I just want to kind of go over some of the information that I gathered during that process, and then I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'll have some questions for Bruce moving forward at that point as well. So Tommy has been working at the pharmacy since 2023. He was involved in the inspection process that took place in May. He had no sterile compounding experience prior to coming to Meta Pharmacy in 2023. It was non-sterile experience only at WellCare. So all of his training was on the job training. He took also some online courses that were completed by Mediska. And speaking with Tommy, I would say he has a general knowledge of sterile compounding, but certainly not robust knowledge. So I think the ownership team may have recognized that as well, and that's why they made the decision to hire a different pick moving forward. The pick at the location does oversee the sterile compounding technicians. However, the pharmacists do not perform any sterile compounding directly at the location. With the new ownership change, they implemented a 3-day sterile compounding training from an outside trainer. And Andy may be able to discuss that after I'm complete with this information from an outside trainer. That was done in May, and all the technicians went through this additional training. The location is doing category 2 compounding, so they are not doing the most challenging compounding, which would be category 3. And they are doing minimal category 2 with additional testing. So the majority is straight category 2 compounding at this time. When they do have outside testing, they're using a reputable lab, ARL, to perform their testing. A typical day at the pharmacy, they have 4 pharmacists and 12 technicians. So this is a very busy pharmacy. They're licensed in 34 states currently. Approximately 75% of the compounding is for patients in Nevada, 25% for other states. Between sterile and non-sterile compounding, it's about a 50-50 mix currently at the location. We discussed office use compounding in detail during this inspection process, and staff members are now signing a document that they understand that they are not able to provide any office use compounding, that everything has to be patient specific. The location is compounding GLP-1 products in combination with other products. So we had a robust discussion related to essential copies with the FDA as well. Tommy Dean was familiar with the essential copy issue, as was Sean Barclay. I think Bruce Steelkey will be involved in that process moving forward and will become more knowledgeable on that as he moves into his position. We had discussions about pre-printed prescription blanks, as that's been an issue at the pharmacy in the past. And both the temporary pick and the incoming pick are aware that pre-printed prescription blanks with the pharmacy information is not allowed. We talked about the FDA drug shortage list because that obviously has been impacted by the GLP-1s. So both the temporary pick and the incoming pick are familiar with the FDA drug shortage list and how to look at that information. The current pick, the temporary pick, Tommy Dean, was uncomfortable in discussing the personnel evaluations as it relates to USP 797. So that's why I made a determination that he doesn't have a robust knowledge of USP 797. And in talking with Bruce about it as well, Bruce has been out of the mix a little bit on the revised USP 797 guidelines, but they have a plan to get him up to date quickly on that process as well. As I mentioned, the location is performing non-sterile and sterile compounding, and they're performing hazardous compounding as well, mostly hormones from active pharmaceutical ingredients. They are currently following all USP 800 guidelines for all products. Their master formulations for their products are provided by Mediska. Currently, the pharmacists do not go through the personnel evaluations that are required by USP 797 for compounding personnel because they are not actively compounding. Their current designated person, which is a requirement for USP 797, is Sean Barclay, and the plan is to have Bruce move into that role. All pharmacists are trained to perform final verification of sterile product as a requirement of their job. All the personnel sign a hazardous drug statement that they understand the risk associated with compounding hazardous products. With the size of the pharmacy and the number of personnel, they are very space constrained right now. And I think the ownership is looking at making some changes in the future, whether that's expanding, adding a second location, something will be changing, I think, in the near future related to that. They are performing a very limited amount of retail pharmacy prescriptions at the location. Currently, it's almost all compounded prescriptions. Controlled substances or narcotic prescriptions are very low at the pharmacy as well. Andy, as I mentioned, is the COO, is working full-time at the location. He is not a pharmacist. He is the one that set up the training for the technicians. They brought on Critical Point to assist in the training process as well. And they're bringing on a new software system called Pharmacy Stars, which is similar to Compounding 360 or Pharmacy Keeper, where they will have pictures of all their products available. It'll be electronic verification for the pharmacist, similar to what most hospitals do at this point. So overall, I was happy that Bruce was able to make this evaluation and sit in to hear what the issues have been with the previous pharmacy, what changes the new ownership has already put into place, and what their plan is for Bruce moving forward. So I'll just have a few questions for Bruce before I turn it over to the board. Full disclosure, Bruce and I have worked together in the past. It's definitely been a minute. It was probably 15 years ago. We worked at a compounding pharmacy together. Bruce was the pharmacy manager at that compounding location. It was a home infusion location. And then I've been involved in working with Bruce through the inspection process in his capacity, working at Southern Hills Hospital. And he's been in a leadership role at HCA for the last few years. Has been involved in freestanding emergency rooms. So our paths have definitely crossed in the last few years. So Bruce, you're obviously aware of the issues that surrounded Meta Pharmacy before you accepted this position. Can you just give us an idea of what your motivation, thought process was in taking on this challenge?
Great question. Motivation is this. I was really looking to get back into a pharmacy environment around accountability, ownership, and team building. At the division level of HCA, big brother, big sister company, as you know, very quality and regulatory compliant. So that's what I hang my hat on. But I did miss the in-pharmacy personnel, teamwork, conversations with providers, conversations with patients, more of what we train for as pharmacists. Really, my role the last 3 years was oversight, advisory. I will correct Joe's comments on a few things, one of which I feel I'm pretty strong in sterile compounding. That was one of the pieces that I needed to oversee. 8 hospitals in the Far West Division, 5 in California, 3 in Vegas. Since then, 2 of those California facilities have been divested, so they're down to 6 hospitals now. But I had direct relationships with DOPs, PICs, operations managers, and clinical managers. And what I was that expert in terms of advisory stuff, how we build out new clean rooms. What do we need from a regulatory standpoint? Definitely involved with Joint Commission accreditation surveys, CMS, CDPH, BOP, and even most recently an announced DEA inspection in Riverside, California, which I was fortunate enough to sit in. Motivation for taking this opportunity is a change. I was probably on 9 to 10 WebEx calls a day at this division level position, sitting on my butt the majority of the day. I want to get back in a facility. I want to use my skills that I've been well trained with. I want to work with team members, and I want to start from ground up. I met with the new leadership team, and they've talked about being a compliant giant, and that resonates with me.
Great. And Bruce, I'll address the sterile compounding. So my comment wasn't related to your experience, because I know your experience. My comment was related to the revised guidelines that went into place. So we talked about the revised guidelines a little bit during the interview/inspection process. And you had some challenges with some of the questions, and I think it's just you haven't been involved in the revised guidelines a little bit. But it sounds like there's a plan in place to get you up to date, and maybe Andy or you can talk about that, because we talked about it at the meeting. What's the plan?
I'll speak to that as well. I just completed the ASHP pharmacy sterile compounding certification. Any of you guys have taken that? It's challenging. There's about 90 individual courses that equate to about 30 plus CEUs. Right now, I'm about 52 and a half ACPE CEUs to date for this renewal period, 48 or 49 of which are compounding/sterile compounding specific. I've also been assigned about 40 courses specific to Critical Point, as what Joe mentioned earlier, that the pharmacy staff at Meta has been assigned to. And I'm about 10 of 40 completed with that module. Historically, I have used Simplify 797. That's been critical point. Most recently, to Joe's point, Pharmacy Stars Compounding 360, and they use Lyceum for their CEU credits. So again, I've been actively involved in continuing education, didactic tests, and general oversight of the aforementioned hospital pharmacy teams. But absolutely, I can always continue to work stronger and harder toward the awareness around the revised November 1st, 2023 regs.
Perfect. And I've definitely inspected Bruce's pharmacy on the old 797 guidelines, and they passed with flying colors for sure. Bruce, so Mr. Barclay was obviously present during that meeting as well. What do you anticipate his role, because this was a big topic during the last board meeting, and working with you on the transition? Have you guys discussed that at this point?
Working with the leadership team and the ownership team, the understanding that quite simply, he'll be a consultant during this transitional phase. And again, I think it's more operational stuff, awareness of security, the opportunities that you presented with respect to the 5-foot door upon entrance to a prescription space, which was new to me based on that follow-up that you had that we need to complete prior to this year's inspection come October, I believe. So essentially picking his brain on the operational awareness around staffing, around strengths identified with individual team members. I've started that evaluation already, meeting each individual on site, shaking their hand. What do you do? How long have you been here? I've already started to evaluate EOC, environment of care opportunities, looking at the clean room, maybe some opportunities to move some things around. Again, a fresh set of eyes that comes from HCA, a very highly regulated hospital entity corporation, and hoping I can use those skills at this facility. Back to your question, I think it's just using Sean's awareness again around the operations, knowing he's been in that facility for a good number of years. I understand and I'm aware he is no longer a pharmacist in that space, and he will not be performing any of those duties. I hope I don't speak with a chip on my shoulder, but accountability and ownership and doing the right thing is what I hang my hat on. That's why I've been a 27-year veteran pharmacist in this city. And fortunately, I haven't appeared before you guys prior to this day.
Great. And Bruce, you're aware that the board ordered quarterly inspections for the pharmacy, and you're willing to participate in that process moving forward?
Absolutely.
Great. I don't have any more questions at this point. Just to mention, once again, I have worked with Bruce personally. He was a very honest pharmacist during the time that I spent with him, and my interactions with him moving forward over the last 9 years as an inspector. He's reached out to me on many occasions to ask questions when he was uncomfortable with situations. So I feel that that will take place moving forward as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Hi, this is Helen Park. So I just have a couple general questions maybe for Bruce and Andy in the room. So I understand it sounds like Bruce, you just started in this new capacity. So it might be a little bit new, but in the short time that you've been there so far, are there any kind of, you mentioned staffing evaluations, EOC, but any other things that you have assessed that you're focused on or you would prioritize maybe in the first 3 to 6 months?
100%. Documentation around all things USP. Joe mentioned Pharmacy Stars. I have used Simplify 797 prior to HCA standardizing Pharmacy Stars Compounding 360. I feel a web-based documentation solution and eliminating paper is the key to regulatory success. Don't get me wrong, you still need to be in the software and evaluate regularly, but signing off and readily retrievable documentation during inspection time, these systems do wonders for regulatory readiness. And right now we're all on paper and I'm not a fan. So the ownership team has absolutely heard me. In fact, we had a scheduled meeting with Pharmacy Stars C360 yesterday and they had a conflict. So we are rescheduling to next week with all intentions to bring that on. To Joe's point, Pharmacy Stars C360 does not have the picture taking capability. those systems, not unlike Pharmacy Keeper or BDIV Prep, or what we used at HCA was Baxter Dosage, which is ultimately sundowning sometime in 2028. The goal is also to evaluate a system in the clean room space to better manage from a med safety perspective, barcode scanning and picture taking. So two different systems. At this time, Pharmacy Star does not have that capability, but we will be looking to implement both. So that is the first point to your question. Second is just overall controlled substances. I'm not a retail guy, I'm a hospital guy. And in hospitals, all controlled substances are locked up, C2s through 5s. And we have what's called Pyxis C2 safes, part of the automated dispensing cabinet safety. I'd love to bring that into this space as well. I know in retail, it's not totally uncommon to have 3 through 5s controls on the shelves. I don't like it. My name's on the license, and if bottles are disappearing, I'm concerned. So I think that's another bullet point that I'm going to pepper the ownership team in. And that doesn't mean we have to bring in Pyxis, but can we get some type of ADC lock cabinet with BioID access so we can better track and trend controlled substances? To Joe's point, not a ton of utilization, but more tablets on the shelves than I anticipated. So that's my overall general comment. So again, I think number one is sterile compounding, and number two is medication safety, medication diversion, and controlled substance management are probably two things that I think I can bring a fresh set of eyes into this operation and make some positive change.
And then are you actively involved in reviewing the SOPs or changing some of the policies and procedures?
Got access to their Dropbox, I think Tuesday. So all the SOPs are in those folders. I'll let Andy speak to what he's doing to bring in a SharePoint type model to once we do standardize and update a lot of the SOPs based on identified gaps or deficiencies or opportunities based on the November 1st, 2023 regs, speaking specifically to USP, then we'll have the ability to, again, better train and onboard either incoming team members or current team members and keep that repository centralized for easy access. So I haven't got into the weeds yet to your question, but I do now have access to those SOPs. And I know Andy's got some standardized templates that he brings from his prior life in compounding space. So definitely a work in progress.
Do you feel that you have the support of the ownership change?
100%.
100%.
Because the changes sound really positive, and it sounds like it will create a safer, better environment that will be more compliant, but it also sounds pretty costly. So I just wanted to make sure.
Pharmacy Star's Compounding 360 is very inexpensive. And because this company is based out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, you guys can hear my accent here today from Wisconsin. I even negotiated a little bit better discount. So I just got to get the ownership team to buy into that specific model. I have no ownership with Pharmacy 360, full disclosure, but I came from HCA where we just standardized that again across the company. So I do have some good experience with it. And again, from my perspective, and I'm sure Joe, Leo, and formerly Luis can speak to how much better inspections go when you are regulatory ready. And I really believe in the compounding space, this is critical for success. So that one's not so expensive, but if we do bring in ADC type lock devices or C2 safes, that one could get a little pricey.
Good, but you have pretty big staff there, so I think that would be well worth the investment.
Appreciate that.
And so it sounds like you've done a lot in leading the setup of the training and the implementation of the training. Can you tell us a little bit about how you organize that or thought through what training should be required and if you have any future training plans for your employees?
Absolutely. So first of all, we have we have a lot of projects on the project plan board. One when it comes to QMS program enhancement, training enhancements, basically a complete revision of our training program as it stands now. Joe Dodge mentioned earlier, we brought in an outside trainer. Her name is Abby Roth, coming from Pure Microbiology. And I've utilized her in the past at another organization with great results. Brought her in to level set the playing field with our compounding technicians. Expectations, USP training, all the requirements, regarding same. That was a good investment. As you mentioned earlier, all these things can cost money. But it's about investing in the quality control, quality management, and investing in the personnel that we have on staff, and setting an expectation of quality management for the future. We're going to be enrolling everybody into the same training programs from here on out. We mentioned pharmacy stars. We're going to be looking at a new compounding software, compounding and dispensing software as well, to give us better visibility of our internal reporting and data mining, to allow us to make good decisions, quality decisions, business management decisions moving forward. So it's a sort of a shotgun approach, but a surgical shotgun approach, if you will, about how we can approach this in a better way and put ourselves in a position where compliance and quality is at the forefront, making good business decisions along the way. That's going to help us guide us to make better decisions in the future.
And then will you be located here in Nevada, based out of Nevada, or?
Yep. As Joe Dodge mentioned earlier, we're in the middle of moving out here at the time. And so I was working remotely that week and closing things down in Florida. And we've got a place out here now and working full time. So previously I was bouncing back and forth a lot, but here now.
And then ownership team, how will you ensure that Bruce is regulatorily compliant and doing what he needs to be doing as a managing pharmacist?
So first off, Bruce has our full support. Bruce and I have talked considerably over the last several days and several weeks about what he's going to need, what support I'm going to be giving him, what support Derek's going to be giving him, and also the support that our technicians and pharmacists on site are going to be receiving from all the above. We're going to be working together side by side on all the things I mentioned earlier: training programs, new compounding software, dispensing software, all of the above, but also just how we're working with the technicians and the staff doing the job on a daily basis, making sure that we have proper oversight, daily compliance, reviewing, doing internal audits, making sure that we're setting those things up and in a particular cadence that allows us to stay consistent with that as well. And we're also going to be bringing on board a new quality manager. She starts on the 16th, and she has a significant and amazing background, quality management background of building systems. And she is going to be coming on board. She also is going to be enrolled into Critical Point, and she's going to become a de facto expert on USP as well in very short order. And she'll be working with both Bruce and myself to make sure we get her to that level of efficiency and effectiveness. But we're going to be looking at enhancing all of our SOPs and everything of what we're looking at, instituting best practices from beginning all the way to end. And going back to your point about cost, those things will have some sort of assigned dollar value and what those investments are going to be looking like. But those are all investments that we are going to be looking at to make sure that we that we make good decisions to be able to put those things into place. That's going to have meaning. That's going to give us meaning. And Bruce and I are going to be working lockstep with the new quality manager to make that happen.
Great. These are all really positive things. I'm happy to hear this. Mr. O'Leary, did you want to add anything else that may not have been mentioned?
Yeah, just briefly, I just want to state first and foremost, as I told Bruce, as I told Andy, as I tell the entire team, the answer is yes. The most expensive thing in a pharmacy is being non-compliant. So I'm truly not worried about the cost of compliance. You will actually make money in the long run by being compliant. So the systems, candidly, just bringing in the caliber of people that you have before you is sort of my way of evidencing that we're willing to invest in this business and keep it compliant. I think I mentioned already, we brought in a controller, a VP of ops, a new pick, a quality manager. We backfilled all of that with new systems. As Joe mentioned, we are looking at new space, larger space for everyone. All of those investments are worthless if we find ourselves back here in 3 months or 6 months, right? Like it just all goes to waste. So I can assure you that the answer when it comes to compliance is yes. They have the resources. I'm very blessed to have the resources, and they will be brought to bear in making sure that we don't have any of this happen again.
Okay.
The other support that we have, which I think we've all failed to mention, is you all. We're looking forward to that support. I don't consider quarterly inspections gotcha moments. I don't think there are opportunities for you to come in and say, see, I gotcha. It's really learning moments for everyone. Hopefully on those quarterly inspections, we all just get better every single quarter. And that's what we're really looking forward to.
Great. I appreciate that perspective because it is meant to be in collaboration and to help and educate and to keep everyone in compliance. So I'm happy to hear the direction that you're headed in and excited about your future then at Meta. I'll open it up for any additional questions from board members.
I've got a couple. Adam Porth for the record. I work at Renown Health up in Reno, and I would just echo that investing in something, we use Compliance 360. It's well worth the expense. We've really enjoyed that product. Just kind of interested, learning that you don't currently have a photo verification process. A little bit more just in the weeds operations, what the pharmacy looks like. So how many hoods do you guys have in your clean rooms?
Yeah, so there's one non-sterile compounding sitting outside the space. We have one non-sterile HD, and I believe we have another non-sterile HD, and then lastly, a positive pressure laminar airflow hood in the positive space. So I want to say 4, and please understand if I'm off plus or minus 1, I'm still evaluating that. In fact, I know TSS does our semi-annual certifications. I have not had the ability to look at those documents yet, so that's on my to-do list as well.
So the pharmacist doing the verification in the 797 space, they're in the clean room and are they over the shoulder of the tech? How does that process work today without?
Again, I can't confirm all of that process yet. Quite simply, I've only been there 3 days, 1 day of which I was doing a lot of training. That's still part of my evaluation to your question. And again, I think those are going to be identified opportunities. In fact, to Joe's point, I absolutely expect that the 3 or 4 pharmacists that are there during the daytime, a 9 to 5:30 shop, should have some type of competency, didactic training, and education. To me, when you're touching a sterile compound with your initials, you are expected to know the basics in that space. And I don't care if that's cleaning and disinfection, hand hygiene and garbing, GFT and media fill fingertip, GFT fingertip and media fill, and of course aseptic manipulation. Now, we will probably not require them to do any type of compounding, but in my opinion, you need the basic regs to be able to oversee and check compounds.
I don't know.
Great. Any additional questions?
Shanice Taylor for the record. Bruce, I appreciate your experience coming into this pharmacy. It sounds like you do have a vast knowledge. That was one of my questions as well. In regards to the 4 pharmacists that are employed, are they up to date on the new regulations with USP 797?
I've not had the ability to check on that as well. Right now, I know we have 3 active sterile compounding technicians, and we're going to add 4th. So I'm in the process this week with Sean's support as the designated person. And as I complete all of my critical point courses and we get in the SOPs and I'm deemed that DP then I will be involved in adding those additional competencies and education to those pharmacists. But I can assure you they are not actively compounding at this time.
Right, Madam President, just to kind of wrap it up, a couple things. Joe pointed it out, Adam said it, and Shin said it. So a pharmacist cannot supervise if they don't have the training that the tech has. And I run across that from time to time. You need to get that fixed because they would not be able to properly supervise it. So they don't have to do the compounding, but they have to be competent and have to show the competency you already know about showing that. So that will be a focus of our inspection for the next inspection. So we'll deal with both of your concerns on that. As far as the items in front of you, so you really have two items. They're notice of one appearance, but there's two items. And I think only one needs a vote. So you've asked us to bring the managing pharmacist, Bruce is here, so you can vote on that today. And then the second one, we don't need a vote, but I just need your direction. You've approved the ownership change, but the whole ownership change is not resolved because you put conditions on the ownership change. So the question for you, and it's really for Madam President, do you want them to appear for the next ownership change, or can I put that on the consent agenda? You still would review that ownership change, and if you don't like it, you can have them appear. Just give me the direction that you want to deal with that. We don't need a motion. You can do a vote if you want. But I don't need that. I just need to know where you want me to place the next ownership change.
I would say board staff review, and if everything looks appropriate, then to put it on the consent agenda, and then we'll have the opportunity to look at it in the consent agenda. And if there are any concerns, we could always pull it.
Yeah, and then it's likely that you will approve Bruce, not to be a spoiler. So moving forward, we will just put this pharmacy back. If they move on from Bruce or Bruce moves on, we will put them in the normal process for a managing pharmacist. But those always can end in an appearance if board staff has some concern. So we'll just go to the normal path for that. With that, I'll give it back to you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. All right, board members, I think for today, we will be making a motion on the change in managing pharmacists.
Before you do that, just Mr. Weiss, the application I'm looking at shows that the owner had a disciplinary action in the past, but we're talking about the previous owner, I'm not talking about.
Yeah, well, there'll be a new one, so we'll just, I mean, what we weigh is, have they presented, is there anything new? Have they presented everything in totality? And it's likely that they will, because the new ownership will be the removal of Sean Barclay as the owner. There might be, I've been talking to Rachel, so there might be some other high level, but that won't change anything that we would need to appear. So to be clear, as Adam pointed out, we don't have the final ownership because they're still working on it. I think they dealt with the manager first, obviously. Yeah.
Thank you.
Adam Forth, I would move that we approve the managing pharmacist change for MetaPharmacy.
Okay. Second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Porath, a second by Ms. Taylor. Any further discussion? Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
13A is online. We've been talking to him, Madam President.
Great. We'll go to 13A. That's for Thomas Shodek. So Thomas Shodek, if you could raise your hand on Zoom or.
Here I am.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Thomas Shodek, SDHOTIK.
All right, I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, board members. Yen Long for the record. I am going to walk through the board members on this application. The application begins on page 6191 of your board book. This is item 13A. Mr. or Dr. Thomas Shoddick is and has submitted a change in managing pharmacist application to become a new managing pharmacist for Rayleigh's in Tonopah. He is appearing before you today as he received administrative action against his pharmacist license by the Board of Pharmacy September of 2024 in case 23-063-RPH-S, which was Nevada State Board of Pharmacy versus American Wellness Pharmacy and Thomas Shoddick. A stipulation order was entered in that case, and the respondent did not contest the following allegations in the accusation, which was and were American Wellness Pharmacy compounded and sold high-risk sterile products with BUDs in excess of USP 797. And as the managing pharmacist of American Wellness Pharmacy at that time, Mr. Shoddick is responsible for those violations. In that stipulation, Thomas Shoddick, pharmacist registration was placed on probation for 1 year, and he agreed to pay a fine of $2,000, a fee of $1,000. He was also required to complete 20 CEs in sterile compounding if he wished to engage in sterile compounding and 10 CEs in non-sterile compounding, and agreed to not work as a managing pharmacist of any compounding pharmacy while on probation. He did pay his fine and fees in September 2024 and completed his required CEs. And he's appearing before you today to become the managing pharmacist of the Rayleigh's in Tonopah. So, Mr. Shoddick, I'm assuming at Rayleigh's there will be no compounding of sterile products. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And will you be engaged in non-sterile compounding at that facility?
No.
Okay. Really, Madam President, that's all the questions I had for Mr. Shoddick. Really, it was the order that he was not supposed to be a managing pharmacist of compounding pharmacy. With Rayleigh's in Tonopah, he will not be performing any sterile or non-sterile compounding preparation. So I don't think he will be violating that part of his order. So I'll turn it over to the board for any additional questions.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Long. All right, board members, any additional questions?
Just add one, David, I have one more thing for Yen and I. Those stores are difficult to get managing pharmacists to, and so not that that should make your decision for you, but I think that that is a difficult store, and him doing that is probably good for the public out there. Joe Dodge is set up for that. And I think that could potentially be weighed into the decision.
I would agree. It's definitely been a challenging store. They've had quite a few different managing pharmacists over the last few years. So if they could get a stable manager, it would definitely benefit the area.
Yeah, my only concern would have been if it's in compliance with this order, and seeing that it's in compliance, I don't.
Ms. Taylor, for the record, I move to approve the change in managing pharmacist application for Thomas Shoddick.
Crystal Freitas, I second. We have a motion by Ms. Taylor, second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passed. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, and thank you for bumping me to the top there. I appreciate it since we're opening the store now.
All right, have a great day.
Okay.
All right, next we're gonna move to, do the three go together, 11A, 12B, 12C? Okay, so that's for Las
So was
Vegas.
that, are you doing all together or separated?
One of them separate because one of them separate because one's a new application. We can do 11A and 12C at the same time, and then we'll take 12B right after that.
Okay, so Las Vegas Radio Pharmacy, and then RLS USA in Wooddale, Illinois, and then we'll do RLS USA in Livingston, New Jersey. So you are representatives there. If you could please raise your hand or come forward in the room.
I'm on Hussam Abbasi's screen. He's down the hall from me.
No, this is
This
not
is David Miller.
wait, I don't know if they could hear.
Okay, I see you now.
Okay.
And then you mentioned that there's someone else joining?
Yes, hi. Well, this is Hussam Abbasi, but I think I'm next For the RLS in Livingston, so I'll step
Okay.
aside.
No, yeah, and that's fine. You could participate here as well. And then one other person, or is
No,
it just
it'll
the
be
two?
two of us.
For RLS, it's just the two of us.
Yes.
Okay. And do we want to wait for radio pharmacy?
We
No,
can do
I'm-
is, sorry, radio pharmacy and RLS. So 11A and 12C are both the same ownership change.
Okay, so if we could start, if I could have you both state your full names for the record.
Hussam Abbasi, pharmacy manager, RLS Livingston, New Jersey.
Thank you.
David Miller, Manager, Licensing and Compliance for RLS USA.
Okay, I'm going to swear you both in, but I need a verbal affirmation from each of you. You could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, Dr. Dodge.
Thank you, Madam President. So we'll start with 11A, Las Vegas Radio Pharmacy, and 12C, RLS in Wooddale, Illinois. And Mr. Miller, I believe you'll be the person answering questions related to the ownership change.
That's correct.
Just as a reminder to the board, Las Vegas Radio Pharmacy just recently went through an ownership change for RLS. And so this will be their second ownership change probably in the last 6 months. Mr. Miller, can you describe the ownership change that took place at RLS?
Yes, all the RLS pharmacies were acquired by Telix Pharmaceuticals USA rather. 100%, the Telix is now the parent company for all the RLS companies.
And how many RLS locations are there throughout the country?
There were 30, but in the last few months, they've acquired some independents. So I would say between 30 and 33.
Okay, and the Sacramento, California location used to be licensed with Nevada, but you sent a letter, I believe in April of this year, that you no longer wanted to be licensed with us. Is that accurate?
Not entirely, if I can, I was going to address that later, but I withdrew that license because the pick moved and they didn't have a replacement pick. Now, they weren't dispensing out of that pharmacy, but I thought it best just to remove the license entirely. I was then asked to try and get the license reinstated, which I did, and that's, I spoke with Candy at the board. Candy reinstated the license, but again, we're not dispensing, we don't have an active pick there. But because of your new regulation, as of June 1st, I have somebody taking that exam. My intention was just to file a change of managing pharmacist as soon as he passed.
Okay, makes sense. For the other two locations, Las Vegas Radio Pharmacy and the Wooddale, Illinois, based upon the ownership change, was there any change in pharmacists in charge at those two locations?
No, there were not.
Any change in other staffing based upon the ownership change?
No,
Any change in policies and procedures based upon the ownership change?
no, the policies and procedures are standardized throughout all the RLS pharmacies.
Any changes in the products that are compounded at those facilities based upon the ownership change?
No,
Okay, no further questions for me on 11A and 12C.
To be clear, they're voting on the ownership change.
Correct, it's a change of ownership for both of those, for 11A and 12C. Sure.
Great, board members, any additional questions?
I don't have any questions. Adam Porth for the record, given that it's just an ownership change and that nothing is really changing operationally. I would move that we approve ownership change for Las Vegas Radio Pharmacy and RLS Inc. in Wooddale.
Second. Motion by Dr. Porath, second by Dr. Taylor. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right, so
Great.
LB.
Well, B,
before we get to that quickly, what would you suggest I do for the Sacramento application since that got so complicated? Should
Well,
I just file a- I'm
I'll
sorry.
need to be involved in that after this meeting, so I don't think it's not agendized, we won't address it today, but you can reach out to Joe or I after the meeting and, or, our phone number is 775-850-1440, and then you can follow the prompts to get to us.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
great board members. So this is starting on page 5831 of the board book. This is an application for a new out-of-state pharmacy, and they perform nuclear pharmacy. This is RLS Incorporated out of Livingston, New Jersey. And Mr. Abbasi, who is appearing today, is the supervising and managing pharmacist at the location. So Mr. Abbasi, just a few questions for you. So obviously RLS has other locations that are currently licensed in Nevada. Are you following the same policies and procedures as the other locations?
Yes,
And how long have you been PIC at the location in New Jersey?
approaching 4 years.
And did you have prior nuclear pharmacy experience to that?
Yes, I had been a staff pharmacist here for 11 years prior to being the pick.
Okay, great. And why does Livingston, New Jersey, want to be licensed in Nevada? Are there certain products that you only compound at that facility?
Yeah, so we had been approached, being that we're located in New Jersey, we had been approached by several manufacturers in our local area that have some therapy products coming to the market, and they want to consolidate the number of pharmacies that they would ship or distribute their products to for final dispensing. And they've selected us as one of the facilities of interest. So there's at least one of those manufacturing facilities within half-hour distance of us. Logistically, it just makes sense for that product to come to us and then from us to the rest of the country.
And then we're used to pretty short half-lives on a lot of the products. If you're shipping it from New Jersey to Nevada, do you know the half-life of the products currently?
Yes, so the therapy products have a longer shelf life than the diagnostic products, which we traditionally dispense. For diagnostic products, that's local deliveries. You're talking 12 to 24 hours max. For the therapy products, you're talking 3 to 4 days.
And what would be your shipping methodology to ship the product to Nevada?
So the manufacturer is taking full control of that. They are using third-party transporters. It would be via air, but they've decided to take full control. So we would essentially just be dispensing it into a syringe unit dose, packaging the product for them, and they would take control. They would come back to pick up the product and ship it instead of us having to do that.
And who's the final user for this product? Is it practitioner offices?
Hospitals.
Okay.
So the nature of these therapy products as of right now, they're limited to neuroendocrine tumors and prostate cancer therapies.
And are you currently shipping the product into other states right now?
As of now, no, we're not.
So this is a new process that you're developing currently?
That's correct.
And are you licensed in any other states currently?
Yes, every state except for Nevada and California.
And are you currently following all USP 825 guidelines?
That's correct.
And you had a VPP inspection last May, is that correct?
Yes.
I reviewed the inspection. I didn't identify any significant issues. Is that correct as well?
Yes.
And are you inspected by the state of New Jersey Board of Pharmacy?
Yeah, we had just had one a few months ago, actually.
And any significant issues that they identified requiring follow-up from that inspection?
There were no findings.
And based upon the product that you'll be shipping into Nevada, is there potential in the future where the Las Vegas location would be able to support you in that process? Or do you think it would just be specifically coming from New Jersey moving forward?
It would really be up to the manufacturer or manufacturers. There's no reason not why that couldn't be the case. It's really up to the manufacturer and how they want to handle their products. So it's really their decision, not ours, is what I would say.
I understand. And just one more question related to your clean room space there. Do you guys use a SERPA at your location, or do you have a ante room with a buffer room?
We have an ante room with a buffer room.
No further questions from me at this time. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Board members, any additional questions for RLS?
I have no questions, Madam President. I would move that we approve out-of-state pharmacy license for RLS in Livingston, New Jersey.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Jacobo, second by Dr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. 8A. We'll go with 8A, which is Inspire Prosthetics and Orthotics. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So if I could have each of you state your full name and titles for the record, and then I'll swear you all in together.
Monte Henry Pottinger, Vice President and Chief Operations Officer.
Elvin Henry Pottinger, President and Chief Clinical Officer.
Wilfredo Christie, Chief Operating Officer. Chief Executive Officer, sorry, co-founder.
Jennifer Daniels, Chief Administrative Officer, co-founder.
Excellent, great. So I'm going to swear you all in together. I just need a verbal affirmation from each of you. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
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 Thank you. All right, Mr. Weiss.
Dave Weiss for the record. In front of you today, you have an application for a new medical gases and device licensing. Commend you that you guys got all your titles right, so I know you. And in your board members, the board book, it starts at 5174. I'll point you to 5185 if you care. That's the ownership structure of the business. I was going to talk about that a little bit, so it's nice to have them all here. So you all own 25% of the business.
Yes.
Anybody can speak, but why did you guys get together and decide to open up a business? It's highly regulated.
So I've been a prosthetist orthotist for about 20 years now. And we had previously worked for a company that was a mom and pop prosthetics and orthotics company. And about 4 years ago, they were acquired by a large manufacturer. We just felt that there was a more of a focus on bottom line than patient care. And after a few conversations with Jennifer, Wilfredo, and my wife, we decided that we could fill the need for patient care in the orthotics and prosthetic space here in Las Vegas.
Thank you. And then I will point out to the board that you will be the administrator of the business, and we're doing good this board meeting because you are board certified in prosthetics, and so that's nice to see that they have the right. We get a lot of people that want to get in the business but don't have the qualifications to do it. So I commend you that. And then you're in front of the board for two reasons. One was that all new businesses of this type need to present in front of the board. It's a requirement of law. And then secondary, Ms. Henry Pottinger, you did have some disclosures of your history. And they're in the board has your letter, and I read it, and I can empathize that it's been a while and you turn your life around and all that. I think for me, just the concern is that you both were involved in that, and we don't want a business where those things kind of happen. We've completely moved on, and you guys have resolved those issues that stemmed from some criminal activity in the past. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. And it was involving a different person.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
That's another good thing, because it's difficult to tell. You gave us a lot of documentation, but I think my assumption was that the last name they were related. So anyway, that's good. So we don't have. I just want, that's part of the vetting process. We don't want to set up a business or approve a business that's set for failure or something like that. So it sounds like, it looks like you guys are all getting along, which is great. And that's good. So with that, I'll just turn it back over to the board. And I mean, they're going to be doing prosthetics, and that's highly specialized, and he has the skill to do this.
Great. The only question I have is for the MDEG administrator, Mr. Henry Pottinger. Will you plan on working at the business full time?
Oh, yes. Yeah, 100%.
I'll make sure you're going to be there.
More than full time right now.
All right, bonus. All right, I don't have any additional questions, board members.
I agree. I feel the administrator is highly qualified. I would move that we approve MDEG application for Inspire Prosthetics and Orthotics.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, second by Ms. Taylor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. All right, we wish you all the best.
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Great.
Members, I don't know if you want to take a break. You've had a busy morning. If you want to take a break and then we'll come back to it.
Yes, we'll take a quick break. Thank you. Great, so we're gonna continue on with our agenda. We'll move on to item 8C, and that's for Silver State Medical Supplies LLC. So if we have representatives, if you could please come forward, or if you're online, if you could raise your hand or let us know through the chat function. Silver State Medical Supplies.
Hello.
Hi.
I also have my administrator here too.
Okay, what's your administrator's name?
Minnie's iPhone. It's Minnie Cadet.
Hello, this is Minnie.
Hi. All right, so will it be just the two of you then?
Yeah, so it'll just be the two of us.
So if I could have you start by stating your full names for the record and your titles.
Hi, my name is Justin Cadet, founder of Silver State Medical Supply LLC.
My name is Minnie Cadet. Sorry, my name is Minnie Cadet. I'm an RN and I am the administrator and representative of Silver State.
All right. I'm going to swear you both in. If you could join me in raising your right hands. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I swear.
Yes, I
Great.
swear.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Weiss.
Madam President, in front of your board, you have an application for a medical device and gas located in Las Vegas. It starts in your board book on 5277. The string continues. I'm going to deal with the administrator first. We might ask her some questions, but Minnie is a RN and has been practicing in a hospital for many years. We'll talk to her maybe about why she's coming over to this, but she would easily qualify as the administrator, so that's good. I'm gonna beat Madam President to the punch. Minnie, is this gonna be your full-time job?
Yes,
Okay, so you'll be there at least 40 hours a week or whatever.
we're gonna do the operating hours of the company, which is Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday.
Okay, so, but you'll be there those days?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all. Minnie, so you're still gonna be working at the hospital then?
Well, I'm planning to ease out of the hospital, sir.
Okay, and so, as far as the referral process, you're not an owner, but you're the administrator. You won't be like referring patients while you're at the hospital to this business. Is that the business plan or how will that work?
It will be totally unrelated to my work at the hospital, sir.
All right, great answer. Board members, I'll point you to page 52, 82, which is the ownership. So Justin, you're 49% ownership. Who's Rocco Tobin?
Rocco Tobin is my partner.
How did you guys get together to start the business?
So he has a very extensive background in the business field. He operates a very successful car dealership, and then I come from a medical background, and I was very interested in learning about the whole process, and we came together with his strengths. We were able to have like a location that is in the heart of the city on 2550 South Jones Boulevard. It's just a partnership that made sense to me.
Okay, yeah, I was guessing it might have been. I've seen some of their ads, and I didn't even read. But like, how did you meet?
Oh, we met all the way back to middle school. Like even how many years is that? Like 10 years ago.
And so he's kind of helping you with the location, and then you're doing like the sweat work of the business?
No, he's also part of the whole thing.
Is he here today?
No, he's not here today.
So just, describe each part of the whole thing. I don't know what that means.
So we will be together working on getting the referrals together. We will both be helping manage inventory. He has a very extensive history on that. He's very good at talking to the manufacturers and wholesalers. We go talk to these distributors together. He's the partner that kind of just complements the strengths that I do not have when it comes to like the business end.
Okay, and so your business model is to provide both to patients by prescription and potentially wholesale products too?
Yes, we sent in a wholesaler application as well. It's gonna be I think it's in the process. It's getting checked for its fingerprints right now.
You marked this one right, and then you've sent in the supplemental, which is fine. They're two separate licenses, so if you get approved today, just to be clear, you won't be able to wholesale until that's.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm aware of that.
And you marked all the boxes, so, but tell us about like when you start, what kind of products you're expecting to do first?
So in the beginning, we want to do like a lot of the ambulatory products. We also do want to do like the CGMs. We also basically we have like the infrastructure to try to do as much as we can. Obviously, if we do for like orthotics and prosthetics, we're gonna like refer out. We're not gonna be the ones like performing any medical procedures. We're just selling pre-approved products with instructions. Like our team will like refer patients to physicians or CPOs when like specialized fitting or prescribing is needed.
Okay, and this is for either one of you, so you're obviously, I'm gonna jump ahead, you'll get some training from the manufacturer on how to like fit people and how to size people and how to tell people to use the equipment, so you've already kind of mentioned that, so we're gonna assume you're gonna do that. How are the patients gonna get trained on the products? And either one of you can answer it.
I have experience because I deal with patients, and I'm also there when the physical therapist try on this, let's say, for example, crutches, how to size them and all that. And that is also part of my background.
Minnie, I was secretly hoping you answered it, so you're gonna take responsibility to make sure the patients get trained on the products?
Yes,
Okay, you have policies and procedures,
yes,
and then you understand, patients' rights for Medicare and Medicaid, and making sure you deliver documentation on their rights.
yes, sir.
I
don't have any other questions. I'll turn it. Thanks.
Great. This is Helen Park. I just have a couple questions. So Justin, you mentioned earlier that in your partnership, you have healthcare experience. Do you have any healthcare experience?
So yeah, so like it's very little for what it is, right? So my healthcare experience would be like, because my original plan in life was to go to pursue being a doctor, so I was pre-med. So I basically did the whole route of like scribing, MA, and then I even wanted to do like physical therapy. I've done all the assisting work and stuff.
Okay. And then I just noticed that your last name and Minnie's last name is the same. So is there a relationship between the two of you?
That's my mother.
Then Justin, will you be working here full time?
Yes.
You can always count on your mother.
All right. Any additional questions, board members?
I heard. I would move that we approve the MDEG application for Silver State Medical Supplies.
We have a motion by Mr. Porath, second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Your application has been approved today. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to agenda item 8D. That's for High Vibes Medical Supply LLC. So if we have representatives here or online, if you could please come forward or raise your hand.
Ms. Fernandez, are you there? If you can raise your hand. Or hit *9 on your phone. Ms. Fernandez, *9 or raise your hand or your camera's on, wave at us. Not seeing anyone, Madam President, we can move to the next one and call her later.
We'll move on to agenda item 9A for the CPAP shop. So if we have representatives here or online for the CPAP shop, if you could please come forward or raise your hand or let us know through the chat function. Okay, looks like we have a couple hands raised. All right, so who do we have here from the CPAP shop?
You have Tony Zednick, who VP of e-commerce at CPAP shop, Agile Medical.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there anyone else joining you today?
Multiple people, yes.
Oh, okay, we'll wait for their lines to get unmuted.
Okay.
If you're joining in, please see that raised hand, look at you, and then hit *9 or raise your physical hand and we'll let you in. Karen, we've let you in. You there, Karen?
Yeah, hello.
Tony, anyone else?
I believe Diane Siegel.
And Amy.
And Amy.
If you two are on the line, please raise your hand.
Amy, I'm
Diane, we see. Yeah, we got you. We see Diane too. She's around here. Diane, quit moving. Diane, can you hear us?
Yes, this is Diane Siegel. I'm the Senior Director for Credentialing for Agile. Thank you.
I think we have everybody again.
So that's four people, it looks like. Okay, so if we can just go through and have each person state your full name and title for the record, and then I'll swear you in and then we move forward.
Sure. Anthony Zednick, VP e-commerce, Agile Medical.
Karen Baldino, Director of Operations, CPAP Shop, Agile Medical.
Diane Siegel, Senior Director of Credentialing for Agile Medical.
Thank you.
Amy Bettinger, Credentialing Specialist for Agile Medical.
Excellent. So I'm going to swear you all in, and if you could just verbally affirm in the order that you just introduced yourself, that would be great. You could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I do.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, Dr. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. Yun Long for the record. I will be walking you through this application, which begins on page 5323 of your board book. This is item 9A for Agile Medical LLC doing business as the CPAP shop. Just one clarification, we did have Joe Pava sign the application. I just want to make sure that you all, four of you, are able and to speak on behalf of the company.
Yes, we are. This is Diane Siegel. Joe Pava left our employment about a month ago.
Okay, we'll just need a letter of authorization that you guys are able to speak on behalf of the company sent to the Board of Pharmacy after this meeting, if that is okay with you.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so the CPAP shop is applying for a medical products provider license, also known as an MDIG license, to sell respiratory and assistive equipment directly to patients by prescription. They are located in West Berlin, New Jersey. They are appearing before you today because they're out of state. They're appearing before you today because they received a cease and desist cite and fine in case number 24-009 for operating as a wholesaler without a wholesale registration. That appears on page 5328 through 5330 of your board book. It's kind of fuzzy, but that was the cease and desist cite and fine issued by the Board of Pharmacy. This activity where they were operating as a wholesaler without a wholesale registration was discovered when invoices for their medical products were found on inspection by our inspector at one of our licensed MDIG facilities in Northern Nevada sometime around January of 2024. Their cease and desist and cite and fine was issued on February of 2024, which was paid for by the company on March 2024. I noticed that you guys submitted an application for an MDIG license and you guys were operating as a wholesaler before. Can you clarify who your clients will be in Nevada?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're an e-commerce provider, and we don't really provide wholesale equipment to retailers. Our constituent is consumer-based, direct to consumer. In this particular instance, when the equipment was purchased, it was purchased under a person's name and delivered to a business address. And so we were unaware that the person was acting as an agent for a retailer.
Okay, I see. And what kind of equipments can you describe will you be providing to
Sure.
patients in Nevada?
Sure. 95% of our business is CPAP related business. So primarily CPAP machines, CPAP masks, and all the related equipment.
Okay, thank you. Let me see here. And so how do you plan to obtain, I guess, customers or clientele from Nevada? There are a lot of other medical products provider in Nevada. So how do you plan to do that?
Our strategy has been and will continue to be strictly online. So we target customers through social media. Basically any channel that you can associate with an online business we utilize, and that could be an email, could be social, it could be writing content, posting content on our website. So we have a website where people would land and then go through the typical e-commerce process of purchasing a product.
So how are doctors able to send prescriptions to your facility for you guys to fulfill prescription orders?
Multiple ways. If the customer has a prescription, they could upload it into a secure HIPAA compliant server. We also have ability for doctors to send it to us directly if a customer requests that through their doctor. We have multiple channels that the customer or the doctor can provide a prescription.
Okay. And if an equipment is shipped into Nevada to a patient and it's a faulty equipment, how does a patient get that product back to you guys, or how do you troubleshoot that?
We have a full technical support team. So if there's a question about the equipment specifically, they can contact us directly. We have people on staff who will handle those calls. If there's a problem with the equipment that can't be solved through technical support, it'll come right back to us. We'll send an RMA to the customer. Customer will send that back to us. We will contact the manufacturer on their behalf and either provide them a loaner or get the equipment fixed at no charge if it's under warranty.
Okay. And you're not selling directly to like doctors' offices or anything like that?
No, not typical. It's not typical, no.
Okay. And I do see that there was a personal history completed by a Wendy Russell Lessie, I believe. And our law requires that each shareholder, stockholder, partner, and owner completes the personal history application. I just wanted to make sure, is that the only person that needs to complete the application on behalf of your company?
Yeah, she's the compliance director. Also, we're part of Adapt Health, and they're a public company.
Okay. And I think that's all the questions I have, Madam President. I'll turn it over to the board for any additional questions.
Yeah, can I have you do one follow-up for me? Because the gentleman's left the business, should we be doing just an updated application at that point and then picking the right person to be that replacement as opposed to a letter?
Oh, for Joe Pava, who signed the application, is that correct?
Because he won't be able to sign that, so we should probably just update the application.
Yeah, we would need an updated application, and then a letter of authorization for Mr. Anthony Zadnik.
Yeah, I guess for the group, who will be, if the board approves it, they're gonna require an updated application. There won't be another fee, but we'll get the application updated. Who of you four would be that person that would sign, or would it be a fifth person?
I believe Diane will answer that, if you'd like to respond.
Thank you. Yes, this is Diane Siegel. We'll have Amy Bettinger, who's on in the meeting with us, complete that and sign that corrected application or revised application.
At that point, we won't need the letter because Amy's here today saying it's okay for all four of you to speak. So if you approve it, if you could just get the application updated for us. Thanks, Shannon.
Correct,
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Any additional questions? The CPAP shop?
I don't have any. Adam Porth for the record, I would move that we approve the out-of-state MBA application for the CPAP shop pending receipt of new application.
Crystal Freitas, second. We have a motion by Mr. Porath, a second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes, and the application has been approved pending an updated application.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank
you for your time.
All right, so next we'll move on to agenda item 10A, 10B, 10G, 10H. That's for Coronado Surgery Center, Coronado Surgical Recovery Suites, Queens Ridge Surgery Center, and Queens Ridge Surgical Recovery Suites.
Have some people, we'll put them in. Michelle, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Michelle, do you know everybody that's going to be joining us?
I believe it is just Marissa right now.
Okay.
She will be the only one representing unless she brings in somebody else, but it should just be
Okay.
her.
And Marissa's confusing us because she's on the phone, but then she's on our camp. So are you talking to us, Marissa, or what are you doing? You just went away. Marissa, you need to unmute yourself on your Zoom or hit star 6 if you're
Sorry.
using the phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, is the phone, you're using the video and then your phone for the audio?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. We didn't know if you were talking to somebody else. You were phoning a friend. So, we're ready. for you.
Okay, great. So if I could have you both state your full name and titles for the record, and then I'll swear you in.
My name is Michelle McCarthy. I am the Clinical Director of Pharmacy Consulting Services Group. I am the Managing Pharmacist that replaced Mary Greer.
Great, thank you.
My name is Marissa Antonucci. I'm the Executive Assistant for our COO and owner for all 4 locations, all 4 entities.
Excellent. All right, if you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll do, this is gonna be a little confusing, so I'll do my best. I'm gonna start with, either one of you. Who is Dr. Michael, Crovetti?
So he is our medical board director, also the founder of all four of these entities. He's still involved in ownership and clinically with surgeries and recovery suite patients. He was originally our sole owner, but now we have had the change in ownership, which is now a joint venture, which I can explain as well if needed.
Yeah, you don't need this, I mean, I'll ask some questions about it, I'll explain it to the board, he owns 49% and Intermountain owns 51% now. And so I'm gonna try to do these all together, but I may end up separating. So for the board members, the first, they're, in the agenda, they're numerically and alphabetically separated a little bit, so for the first one, it's page 5349. For the second one, which is recovery center, it's 5377. The third one, which is surgery center, it's 5490, and then the last recovery suite is 5508. And so I think that my assumption is that you have a surgery center, and then next to it or adjacent to it or something, there's a recovery room, and there's really just two facilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then I'll point out to the board, which I think is interesting to look at, if you look at page 5902 and 5903, that describes the pre-acquisition and the post-acquisition, and you can clearly see where the ownership is falling. So I think for various reasons, these people are now partnering together in a manner. And so that you're here today because that is the ownership change, but he's still going to be involved, and Ms. McCarthy is still going to be involved in the same capacities that you were before the ownership change. Is that correct, Michelle?
Correct.
And so I think with that, this may be more, but I mean, Intermountain is already a licensee of yours in other capacities. He's been a licensee before. The consultant's not changing. Is the business model as far as procedures changing, or will that be the same?
It'll all remain exactly the same operationally.
So, I mean, an appearance is required. There's no disclosures. Appearance is required. I'll reference you back to 5902, which is the structure of the new one, so you can clearly see. So I don't think that needs to be explained. It's on. They've done a great job of filling out the application. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam President.
Great. So this is Helen Park. I just have one quick question for Ms. McCarthy. How are the inspections going?
They're great. I mean, everything's great. We go every month. One of the pharmacists goes up to Queensridge Recovery and Surgical Center every month, and I go to Coronado every month, both the surgery center and Queensridge and Recovery Center.
Okay, great. All right, I don't have any questions or concerns.
Jay Jacobo, for the record, I would move that we approve ownership change for Coronado Surgery Center, Coronado Surgical Recovery Suites, Queensridge Surgery Center, and also Queensridge Surgical Recovery Suites. And I think Queensridge Surgery Center also has a name change upon the application.
Excellent. So we have a motion. Oh,
No, it's fine. Before you do that, I also failed because I was going through it, is that he signed the application. So we do need a letter from Dr. Corbetta allowing them to speak today. And if they do that, if you make that part of the motion, sorry for forgetting that. I said it in my head, but I did not say it out loud.
Dr. Corbetta.
Crovetti, yeah.
Crovetti, yes.
Crystal for a second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Cobo, second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion?
I just want to make sure they understand what we're asking them to do with the letter.
I'm sorry, could you repeat it one more time? It's a little bit difficult for me to hear.
If you could submit a letter of authorization permitting you to speak on behalf of all of those 4 ownership changes to be submitted by Dr. Covetti after this meeting.
Perfect. And we can do that online, I assume.
Yes.
Great.
Sorry, that was your line.
Jay, no, Jay, you should.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. All right, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good day. Okay, we're going to move on to agenda item 10C. That's for Elkhorn Surgery Center. We have representatives from Elkhorn Surgery Center.
I'm back. I'm still
You're back?
representing.
All right.
I've got 8 today. I have 8 centers I'm representing today, so I'm
Got
here.
it. And I will say you are still sworn in, and then I'll turn it over to Ms.
We
Long.
have one more person.
Oh, one more person. Okay.
Brandon.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I could hear you now. Can you state your full name and title for the record?
Brandon Quayle Reynolds. I'm one of the owners of Elkhorn Surgery Center.
Great. And I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. Great. Ms. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. Yan Long for the record. This item takes place on page 5405 of your board book. This is item 10C for Elkhorn Surgery Center. This is a ambulatory surgical center that is currently licensed with the Nevada Board of Pharmacy. They were under the name of Spring Valley Surgery Center. They are located in Las Vegas, and they have submitted an application for an ownership change and a name change. Their new name will be Elkhorn Surgery Center. They are appearing before you today as they are a Nevada ambulatory surgical center with owners new to the Board of Pharmacy. The application was signed by Brandon Reynolds. Some questions for you, either for you, Michelle, or Brandon. Actually, for Brandon, I noticed that the ownership is a partnership between, I think, your brothers, Robert, Matthew as well. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to purchase and own an ambulatory surgical center?
So I'm a plastic surgeon. I do a lot of breast reconstructive surgery. There's an issue with access to care for breast reconstruction patients within the Las Vegas Valley, delaying care. There's issues on getting a hold of operative time in ORs in order to get patients back in a timely fashion. So in Vegas, if you ask around, you'll find most patients from diagnosis to surgery. It's about a 3-month wait at best. We think we can beat that by a long shot and do it within a month if we have a comprehensive team. So there's me, my brother Paul is an anesthesiologist who works with us, which is another shortage in Vegas. So we have an ability to work around that as well. And then also by providing OR time that's dedicated to those patients, we think we'll be able to service the Las Vegas Valley and hopefully help minimize the deaths we're seeing from breast cancer by getting them back quicker to the OR.
Okay. And do you own any other plastic surgery centers?
Just my private practice.
And will there be any business change with this new ownership?
No, I'll still be in my same private practice. In fact, I'm moving my office over to above the surgery center.
Okay, thank you. And this question's for Michelle. You are appearing today for many ambulatory surgical centers. How many ambulatory surgical centers are you currently contracted with?
I don't have an exact number. I want to say there's about 40. Look at the spreadsheet. There's about 40 of them.
That's a lot. Good for you.
Yeah.
We have some new board members. Can you explain a little bit about what you do as the contracted pharmacist for these ambulatory surgical centers so they have an idea of what you do at these centers?
We go every month. We visit the centers. We look at security of their environment, making sure controlled substances are double locked, that their regular medications are locked up. We make sure they have a PMP, that we're updating on a regular basis, make sure that they have a formulary that is updated and they're abiding to. We do audits every month. We look at their controlled substance use, wastage, what they're purchasing, making sure invoices are double signed, dated, putting everything together. We look at perpetual logs, intra-op logs, and compare the two. look at crash carts. There's a list. We do a lot, you know, we look at a lot of different things. We do education also, and services on occasion. Trying to think what else off the top of my head.
Well, that's really good. I appreciate your explanation.
No problem. No problem at all.
For Brandon, will you be using the same staff that is currently at the facility?
No,
Okay, just some staff changeover. Okay.
yes.
Any issues you found, Michelle, at this facility in the past?
No, we didn't have the facility in the past, so we're
Oh,
new
okay.
on board with them as Elkhorn, so.
Okay, all right then. Thank you. I don't have any further questions, and I'll turn it over to the board.
Great. Any additional questions, board members?
This one's pretty straightforward as well, Madam President. I would move that we approve name change and ownership change for Elkhorn Surgery Center.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kobo, second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. All right, so the next one we'll go to is 10D for Fort Apache Surgery Center, LLC. All right, welcome back. Will there be anyone else joining you today, Ms. McCarthy?
Peter should be on, Peter Beckus.
Peter
He
Beckus.
should be on also.
Hi guys, Peter Beckus here.
Oh, great. Glad you're on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Great. I'll turn it over to Dr. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. Yan Long for the record again. This is item 10D for Fort Apache Surgery Center LLC. This takes place on page 5430 of your board book. This is an application for an ownership change as well. They are appearing before you today as they are a Nevada ambulatory surgical center with owners new to the Board of Pharmacy. Pete Beckus did sign the application. Really, this shouldn't take too long. Some quick questions for you. Michelle or Pete, either one of you guys can answer. Can you tell us a little bit about this new ownership?
Sure. The ownership structure change is more of a corporate restructuring. So the entity previously was an independent entity owned solely by Andrew Hall, who is the medical director. The organizational change now is owned 10% by his medical practice, which is Andrew Hall, MD, PLC, and then 90%, which is a slight difference between the application once the final documents are completed, 90% from ACA Relivium LLC.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that Andrew Hoff had 15% ownership, but you're saying he has 10% ownership now. Is that correct?
Yeah, the application was submitted prior to the transaction closing. Once the transaction, as it got closer, after the application was submitted, it's 90% ACA Relivium and 10% Andrew Hall and DPLC.
Okay, thank you. Do you happen to know if Andrew Hall owns any other ambulatory surgical centers?
He does not. He's my husband, so I have a very intimate understanding of ownership and everything that goes on with his life.
Okay, very good. And we've already asked Michelle some questions already. It looks like Mary Greer was the contracted pharmacist as of January 2025, but then it switched over to Michelle. I don't have any further questions, Madam President. I'll turn it over to the board.
Board members, any additional questions?
No questions, Madam President. I would move that we approve ownership change for Fort Apache Surgery Center.
Crystal Freitas, second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Jacobo, second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
And then
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll go to 10F for Horizon Ridge Surgery Center. Okay. And then anyone else joining you on this one, Miss McCarthy?
Yes, I just want to make sure she's ready.
Okay.
Everybody's working and doing double duty right now, so they were
Got it.
on before.
Just,
We're looking for Chris Hall is going to be who's coming in.
Just a procedural, I, against this Dick's wishes, I push back lunch just a little bit to give you the potential to finish up the meeting prior to.
That was close. I was gonna say, that's a risky move.
I didn't go very far. I'm not gonna tell you, you take your time doing the meeting. If we break for lunch and have to come back, there's no issue with that, but I'm suspecting that you might be able to get done before lunch, so I just, well, so you have, what I'm telling you, you have plenty of time to take care of it.
I'm being told Crystal is actually going to be on that.
I'm sorry, what was that, Ms. McCarthy?
I'm being told that Crystal, the administrator, is going to be on.
Okay.
Crystal Lucier. And just so you guys know, the chat's been disabled this whole time, so we couldn't even like chat you guys up to say hey.
Oh dear. Okay, thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, no problem.
And then while we're waiting for Crystal, you're also on for Summit Surgical, is that right?
I am.
And then that would be it for you?
I hope so.
Okay, all right. So
Yes.
we'll do Summit Surgery next, and then that way we could take care of all of yours at once.
Yeah.
We think she's unmuted. If you can ask her to speak, she doesn't have an identifier, so we think we found her.
Crystal, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We could hear you. Can I have you state your full name for the record?
Crystal Lucier, the administrator of Horizon Ridge Surgery Center.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Long.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Yan Long for the record. This is item 10F for Horizon Ridge Surgery Center. It takes place on page 5470 of your board book. Horizon Ridge Surgery Center submitted an application for a name change and ownership change. They are currently licensed as an ambulatory surgical center under the name of Parkway Surgery Center at Horizon Ridge, changing the name to Horizon Ridge Surgery Center. And they are appearing before you today as they are a Nevada ambulatory surgical center with owners that are appear to be new to the Board of Pharmacy. The application was signed by Crystal Lucier. The contracted pharmacist is Michelle McCarthy. Some general questions. Can you describe this ownership change, Crystal?
Parkway Surgery Center at Horizon Ridge was originally a joint surgery center with Parkway Surgery Center near Green Valley Casino. We have since separated the partnership, and there was a few GI physicians that took over the ownership of 49% of this location.
Okay, thank you. Will you have any staff changeover?
No, they are still the same facility in all ways, except for the owners.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this one is easy, Madam President. I'll turn it over to you. I don't have any further questions for the new owners of this ambulatory surgical center.
Great, board members, any additional questions?
Crystal Freitas, no additional questions. I would move we approve ownership change and name change for Horizon Ridge Surgery Center.
Second. Motion by Ms. Freitas, second by Ms. Jacobo. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. All right,
Thank
we'll go
you.
to 10. Thank you. We'll go to 10J for Summit Surgical Center, LLC.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hi, this is Jennifer Tran. We have a couple other people joining us.
We're going out with a party. That's what's going to happen.
Welcome. We have Jennifer Tran, and then who else is part of your group?
I have Denise Wright, Stephanie Holmstrom. So Denise will be our Director of Nursing. Stephanie Holmstrom is our administrator. You've already become very familiar with Michelle McCarthy, our pharmacist. And then we have, hopefully our medical directors are able to join, but they're bouncing in and out of clinic right now. So I don't know if, did they raise their?
We have Jen and we have Stephanie.
Yes.
Oh,
There's
there's
Dr. Qureshi, one of our medical directors, and then myself.
MD Wright.
Is that Hashim?
Yes.
Hi, doctor. You should be able to speak
Hi,
now.
can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, we could hear you. Good morning.
Perfect,
All
thank
right,
you.
Do we have everyone unmuted?
I think we have 4 people unmuted.
Denise?
Denise, right? Is
yeah.
she unmuted?
No,
we
I
do
think
not.
she's still muted.
Denise, what's your last name, right? Okay, yeah. We just got a D, we just have a D, so we don't know it's her.
Okay.
So I think Denise Wright, you're now unmuted.
Okay, perfect. We've got everyone.
Okay, so this is gonna be the hardest part, and it's everyone stating their full name and title for the record, and then swearing everyone in except for Ms. McCarthy.
I'll start first. Jennifer Tran, MD.
Thank you.
Stephanie Holmstrom, administrator.
Thank you.
Hashim Qureshi, DO.
Thank you.
Denise Wright, Director of Nursing.
Okay, excellent. And then I'm going to swear each of you in together. And if you could just verbally affirm in the order that you introduced yourselves. So if you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay, we'll take that. I think that's, you did great. All right. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Long.
Thank you, Madam President Yen Long, for the record. This is item 10J, Summit Surgical Center LLC, takes place on page 5557 of your board book. Summit Surgical Center LLC has applied for a license to operate a new ambulatory surgical center located in Las Vegas, and is the reason why they are appearing before you today. The application was signed by Ms. Jennifer or Dr. Jennifer Tran. I apologize for that. So a few questions. It looks like this is a ambulatory surgical center owned by, I believe, 6 owners. I'm just curious, Ms. Tran, how you know all of these other owners and why have you guys decided to open a new ambulatory surgical center?
Sure. So we're all affiliated together through our primary practice, which is Velasquez Pain Relief Center, which is a interventional pain management practice. So all owners are affiliated, either employees, owners, or spouses of the owners. The purpose of the surgery center would be to service our own patients. So it would be a single specialty ambulatory surgery center.
Okay, and just vascular types of patients and surgeries?
Pain management, interventional pain management. Yep. So epidural steroid injections, lumbar facets, spinal cord stimulators, those kinds of procedures.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, this is a simple one. They all the owners filled out a personal history application, and there was nothing of concern in those personal history applications, Madam President. I'll turn it over to the board for any additional questions.
Your ophthalmologist and psychiatrist today.
Board members, any additional questions?
For me, Madam President,
I do just have one. Sorry, Adam Porter for the record. Since this is a new facility, just would like to hear the plan on controlled substance storage. Will that be locked cabinets? We have automated dispensing cabinets. How's that gonna look at this facility?
I think I'll give that question over to our Director of Nursing, Denise.
Okay, to continue, she says she hasn't scheduled that appointment yet.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sorry, could you repeat your questions that you had?
How are you going to be storing controlled substances at the
Controlled substances will be dual locked, and regular medications will be behind a lock as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I would move that we approve a new application for ambulatory surgical center for Summit Surgical.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Jacobo, second by Mr. Porath. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Okay, next we'll go to agenda item 10E for Fresenius Vascular Care Henderson AS Ambulatory Surgery Center. And who do we have on the line for Fris?
You rolled it off the tongue the first time, right?
Sorry about that.
Hi, no problem. Who do we have here? If you could state your full names and titles, please.
My name is Linda Teeter. I am the facility administrator.
And my name is Kim Royer. I'm the Senior Director of Business Integration.
Great. Will there be anyone else joining you too?
We had Lee Duke on the phone with us. He's our pharmacy consultant. I don't know if he was able to stay on the call though.
Hey, Lee Duke, are you still on?
I'll take that as a no. We'll do our best without him. We do have a pharmacy consultant.
Okay. All right, I'm going to swear both of you in. If you join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
Yes. I do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Dave Weeks for the record. There's no requirement that the pharmacy consultant appear. They a lot of times do because they want to say we're paying you to go deal with the board of pharmacy. So but there's no requirement. I'm sure we can move anything to deal with him. We'll pick up an inspection so that I don't have any concerns about that. But more importantly, I think I know, but I don't want to make any assumptions of who you are and the structure of the business. So board members, this is it's an application for a new ambulatory surgery center. The structure of the ownership, which I'm going to focus most of my questions is on page 5467. And so you listed there, I'm familiar with the name. I guess the quick question is this is the vascular care and the kidney specialty, are they part of the multinational American/German company that's licensed with us in many different ways, or are we going to have a lawsuit about a name?
No, Fresenius Vascular Care is affiliated with Fresenius Medical Care, and they are 15% owner in this entity. So,
and the majority of, I mean, not you're big. I think the biggest component of your business is dialysis, if I know what I'm talking about, but maybe I don't. So you can correct me on that.
That is correct, but we are a different division. We're Azora Vascular Care, and we do dialysis access management.
Okay, and there's a CABA division too, so that does some like drug stuff, and so you have.
Yes, there is a pharmaceutical.
You have many different licenses. That part does. And is that who you work for?
No, we work for Azora. We work for Azora Vascular Care.
Okay.
Which is a division of Fresenius Medical Care.
Okay, so it is a division. Okay, and so talk about the partnership. There's 4 different LLCs or companies. What is each one doing?
They are, so there are 3 different physician groups, and then there is Fresenius. So Fresenius Vascular Care, 15% owner, is managing the ASC. And then there is NKDHC PLLC that is staffing, and physicians will be here. And then Kidney Specialist Surgical Center, SCLLC. They are 28.33% owner, and they will also be having physicians come here and render services. And then there's one other partner, NNC VAC LLC, that is just a partner. They're just a financial partner.
Okay, they're not vascular surgeons.
They are not.
Okay, that sounds good, and that matches up to what you turned in. Who's Greg Miller?
Excuse me?
The person that signed the application was Dr. Greg Miller. So where does he fall in that mix?
He's our chief operating officer at Azura Vascular Care.
And so will need a letter from him stating that it's okay for you to speak on his behalf after the meeting, which we can.
Yes, we already provided that. We provided it to Mark Cedar, so we emailed it to him before this meeting.
Okay, sounds good. And Mark told me somebody gave a letter ahead of time, so I'm gonna count it as you gave.
Yeah, that was us.
We don't have it in the board book, so that's fine. And so let's talk about, you're mostly gonna do, what kind of vascular care are you gonna be providing surgically?
We do angioplasties to the dialysis access, to fistulas and grafts, and thrombectomies to keep them open. So we basically maintain their dialysis access for them, so they can continue to get dialysis. We do some catheters, IJ catheters, so they can get dialysis as needed, but the goal is always to get rid of those and get a permanent access.
And is that under like fluoroscopy, or what's the normal
Yes.
way?
It's all done under fluoroscopy with C-arm.
Yeah, so the model is, and this is within the law, no issue there. The model is you're treating the patient and then some need comes up or some primary need before they get the dialysis. And so those patients go here to get the surgical procedure so that they can maintain the dialysis throughout their care.
Absolutely right. Yes, they go to dialysis. There's an incident. There's some need for intervention. They're referred to our center where we can hopefully get them scheduled, get them the intervention they need, and right back to dialysis the same day or next day.
Okay, sounds good. There's no disclosures. I have no other issues, but the name was confusing mostly to me, so.
Sorry about that. Yes,
No, no, your fault.
it's a big
too
big structure. Yeah.
It's too big, yeah.
All right, board members, any additional questions?
From me, Madam President, I would move that we approve new application for new ambulatory surgical center for Fresenius Vascular Care. Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, second by Ms. Taylor. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. We thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, we'll go on to agenda item 12A for Polaris Pharmacy Services. We have representatives for Polaris Pharmacy Services. If you could please raise your hand.
Hi, this is John Reepstein from Polaris Pharmacy Services of Warrington.
You cut out there for just a second. Could you repeat your name once again?
Sure, Jonathan Reepstein from Polaris Pharmacy Services.
Okay, great. Will there be anyone else joining you today?
No, the other person who was on hold had to jump off.
Okay,
Just
all
me.
right. All right, I'm going to swear you in. If you could join me in raising your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you're about to provide will be both truthful and complete?
I do.
Great, thank you. Okay, Dr. Long.
Thank you, Madam President. Yan Long for the record. This is item 12A for Polaris Pharmacy Services. This item is on page 5735 of your board book. Polaris Pharmacy Services is applying for a pharmacy license. They are located in Warrington, Pennsylvania. They will be a retail pharmacy providing mail order services and long-term care services. They are appearing before you today as they had some disclosures on their application. And I noticed that the application was signed by David Rombro, who is the CEO. Mr. Reepstein, or did I pronounce that right?
You did, thank you.
Mr. Reepstein, are you authorized to speak on behalf of the pharmacy today?
I am. I'm the pharmacist in charge for our location.
Okay. Yeah, we may need a letter of authorization from the CEO that you are authorized to speak on behalf of the company. So I have some questions for you. Are you familiar with the disclosures that were that were provided in the application?
Yeah, I'm sure one's about Minnesota, right?
Yeah, can you describe what happened in that order? It looks like it was signed
Yeah,
in
sure.
2021.
Yeah, so back in 2018, when Polaris opened their Minnesota location, they found it very challenging to find technicians to process the long-term care work. And then they were using technicians based out of their Florida locations who were licensed in Minnesota to do the order entry. And then Minnesota had questions about it, saying that they were a central fill pharmacy. So that's where those questions arose from Minnesota. But back in 2022, they came to an agreement with Polaris Pharmacy Services of Minnesota that the Tampa Bay Polaris location and the Fort Lauderdale location could serve as remote entry on urgent needs, similar to what had happened when they first opened the location.
And with this, are you guys licensed with us for other locations? Is your Minnesota
They
location located? Is your Minnesota location licensed with us?
There's 23 Polaris locations. So I'm sure that there are some that would be licensed, because I think we're not the first one to get licensed in Nevada.
Okay, yeah, I recognize the disclosure, and that's the reason why I ask. Will the Pennsylvania location be operating in this manner where you have technicians in other states processing prescriptions for the Pennsylvania location for Nevada patients?
No.
Okay.
Everything
And
we do
then,
will be based out of here.
okay, perfect. And it was mentioned in your application, you'll be providing long-term care services. And you also marked that you will not be shipping sterile or non-sterile products into Nevada. Can you tell us what kind of products you'll be shipping into Nevada then?
Yeah, so more of your oral solids, your cream, your inhalers, things of that nature, like your more retail medications. No compounding, as you mentioned, will be done by our pharmacy that we would ship it into Nevada.
Okay, thank you. Will you be doing compounding in the future, or is this something that you decide not to do for Nevada patients?
Yeah, the likelihood is we're not gonna be doing compounding outside Pennsylvania, or for outside residents of Pennsylvania, sorry.
All right, thank you. And how do you anticipate being able to obtain business from Nevada?
Sales, so we have salespeople that go throughout the country that some have relationships with facilities in different parts of the country. So the salespeople will go and either leverage their relationships or apply for new contracts for bids, things of that nature. That's typically what we do anyhow.
When you talk about new contracts and bids, can you go into that?
Yeah, well, so a lot of it too is correctional business that we do correctional business too. And those are RFPs or bids that the correctional counties will submit or send out, and then we'll apply or try to go that way as far as getting business.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. And how would, go ahead,
I was
Dave.
gonna say, I did just cheated. There's two other locations that are licensed with us. There's one Livermore license and one being specialty, one being a regular pharmacy in Corvina. So those are the three that are licensed with us. And I think Ken's already pointed it out, but the expectation for Nevada is that you're following Nevada law when you're providing care to Nevada. And so if you would not be able to use those technicians as Minnesota would maybe allow you. Thanks, Ken, sorry.
Thanks for clarifying that, Dave. And how would, if a doctor wishes to utilize your pharmacy, how would they get a prescription over to your pharmacy?
So there's an electronic system they can utilize that we can work with them on, or they could fax over a prescription if that's what they deem, or
you know, in the case of if they wanted to call something in verbally, we could take a verbal. Any of the normal means of transmission of prescriptions is how we would take it from Nevada.
Okay, perfect. And when you ship prescriptions into Nevada, as you know, Nevada can get very hot and it can actually get very cold as well. How would you ensure the integrity of the medication?
So we have guidelines that we follow for how much ice, if it's a refrigerated item, that we would need to put in a certain size package to make sure that it meets the standards. We've done testing to make sure that what's shipped from here remains cold and within the stability guidelines of the manufacturer, all the way as far as Hawaii, because so we've done it across, you know, the country. So we do have some good information on that.
Great, thank you. And will you be shipping controlled substances into Nevada as well?
It's possible, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all the questions I have, Madam President. I'll turn it over to the board for any additional questions.
Board members, any additional questions?
Adam Porth for the record, I just have one. So I know that we have seen some of these other Polaris pharmacies during my time on the board. Really my question is there like a central office where these prescriptions go to, and then some of the other facilities would fill some orders and you would fill others? How is that differentiated?
So any prescription that we fill from here, the prescription comes to us. We have a document system that all prescriptions will come into, or an electronic system, depending on which way they do it. And anything that we fill or any prescription we receive will be filled out of here.
Understood. But is there, so doctors are being marketed to prescribe specifically to the Pennsylvania location, or they're being marketed to prescribe to Polaris generally, and then someone decides where those prescriptions go?
Well, corrections, we're the only Polaris location that services correctional facilities throughout the country. So if it was a correctional client, they would come to us. And then the long-term care is local to the pharmacy that Polaris has. So Pennsylvania long-term care facilities would be serviced by us. Florida would be by one of the Florida locations, and so forth. Does that answer your question?
It did. Thank you.
A very tricky question. Good question.
Any additional questions, board members?
Hi, Madam President, I move that we approve new out-of-state pharmacy license for Polaris Pharmacy based out of Warrenton, Pennsylvania.
Crystal Freitas, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Jacobo, a second by Ms. Freitas. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you for appearing today, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I'll call for agenda item 8D for High Vibes Medical Supply LLC. So High Vibes Medical Supply.
Good to you, Colin. We've been watching to see, we know the name of the owner, and so we've been watching to see if she was coming in so we could correspond with her. And I don't see her, Madam President, so I guess we'll know sort of for our future.
Anything else besides public comment?
I move lunch back to the panel.
So thank you for sharing that. Right, the board will open up the floor for any public comment. Is there anyone in the room or online who wishes to make a public comment? If so, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
I just have one. The staff appreciates your patience with the internet. It was not a hardware issue, it was an internet issue. We apologize for that. It was not in our control. We did what we could to make it work, but sorry about that.
No, not a problem. Appreciate the work that staff does and appreciate the help of our IT person, AKA Dave Weiss. Right. Does not appear that anyone in the room or online wishes to make a public comment, so we'll close the period for public comment. The date and location of our next scheduled board meeting is July 16th and 17th, and it will be held here again in Las Vegas. With that, our meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.